At the other end of our panel, we have Mr. Ajmal Ramyar, Executive Director of Afghans for Progressive Thinking. That's a youth-led non-profit organization working to promote human rights and girls' education in Afghanistan. Let's start with you, Ajmal. So what does civil society see as some of the key challenges and gaps regarding SDG 16+ issues? How is this reflected, addressed in this year's Civil Society Declaration? Ajmal.
Thank you so much, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests. It's a privilege to contribute to this discussion on behalf of the civil society. The 2026 Civil Society Declaration was brought together through an interactive process, bringing together civil society organizations from around the world. Next to issuing a survey for inputs to this declaration, we have also organized 2 consultations sessions where inputs and drafts were discussed. In responding to your question by highlighting the key challenges and gaps that describe in this latest interaction of the Civil Society Declaration of SDG 16, first, the world is in polycrisis. Conflict is at record level. Political, economic, climate, and governance shocks are no longer isolated. They reinforce one another. The 2025 UN Security reports tell us that the progress is not merely stalling. They are actively regressing on 18% of the SDGs, and the SDGs, specifically none of the 12 targets, are at track. Through my work at Afghans for Progressive Thinking, I work with young people across Afghanistan who live under restrictive environment. Afghanistan is one of the examples of the polycrisis due to the failure in governance, human rights, and international diplomacy. We see conflict, poverty, climate change, instability, and weak governance all happening at the same time. The country is facing one of the worst humanitarian crises now, with more than 23 million people needing help, where floods, droughts destroy their livelihood. At the same time, the Taliban rule have removed inclusive governance, leaving people with no trust in institutions. This shows clearly how different crises don't stay separate. Instead, they add up and push the whole society into chaos. For many people in Afghanistan, this makes the goal of peace, justice, and a strong institution under the SDG 16s feel almost impossible. Second, civic space is shrinking dramatically. The Civic Monitor found that only 7.2% of the world population lives in open civic spaces. The Democracy Report tells us that 72% of world population now lives under autocratic rule. Human rights defenders, journalists, and community leaders face surveillance, legal repression, campaigns, and forced exile. This is not trend confined to one region, it's global. For example, in Afghanistan, civic space almost disappeared under the Taliban rule. We see voices silenced through bans on education, restriction on movement, and constant threat to those who try to raise their voices. At our organization, we see this is that every day that most of the young people, young women, they raise their voices. They're forced to push hardly. They have been threatened. They have been detained, while many of youth are forced to leave the country and operate underground. Third, we witness unprecedented funding crisis. In 2025, the ODA fell by 26.4%, the largest record drop in history. At the same time, global military spending reached nearly 2.9 trillion, which are world choosing weapons over well-being. And this hits local civil society organizations hardest, as this is the most dependent on the funding sustain local peace building and justice work in the communities. We also witness this in the context of Afghanistan, where the collapse of international aid hit local organizations who rely on small grants to support people who are in need. Fourth, justice remains out of the reach for most people. 5.1 billion people, roughly 2/3 of humanity, lack access to justice. Civilians' deaths in conflict rose to 40% in 2024. And also the cutting across all multilateralism itself is under strain. So in the declaration, we have listed, which you can also find at the end of this room, the full version of it. It will cover the change that the course are currently on, and also providing recommendation that what need to be done and how. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ajmal, for outlining, summarizing the 2026 Civil Society Declaration for us, especially through the lens of your vital work in Afghanistan.